Hey guys, how you doing? I'm gonna take this thing off. It made us wear them in the hospital here. They get a blood fairy. We are gonna talk a little bit about Tommy B, right? After 36 years in the job here in the great state of Minnesota in KQ92. Go through or not. He decided to quit, right? So here we are. First day of July 2020. We'll put it in the Chloe shit. I'll do an audio. I'll do more of a audio on too as well. I'm gonna do a video on the DJI. We're on the GoPro 4. Nice Friday, real nice. So anyways, we went and saw the blood fairy for my Type 2 and got that done. Got jury duty next week. And yeah, they're still wearing the mask in there, but it is what it is. Who has a gold sets the price, right? Dude, no screaming, holy moly. So, like I said, after 36 years, he's mad because they said he retired. Cumulus can't afford him anymore. That's why Ray Eric left. Now Ray Eric's in the hospital, okay? And John Lastman's up in the Nimrod's job up there in St. Cloud. There's a lot of guys leaving the radio business because there are things you can listen to. I'm a syndicated radio show, I'll put it that way. Any podcasts that you're syndicated, listen to you all over the world, right? On demand or live. I don't hate Tom. I just think the last 12, 15 years has been just boring. And I'll tell you what happened to Tommy B. If you watch his video, Tom, here's what happened to you. Lean and listen, young man. I communicated with him on Twitter. When he first came on his podcast, he asked for advice. I was at Blog Talk Radio Network, and he got his own studio. He's pimped and paid for by Bielski, who he likes to rip on all the time. When his mother, Toots, passed away, very close to his mother, I was too as well, he lost his center of gravity. He lost it. Just like Tiger Woods' father passed away. Cheated on his wife, got his ass whipped, started playing bad golf, just lost it. Because his dad was his, kind of like the engine in the car, right? The engine drives the vehicle. Without a good engine, you don't go anywhere, right? And, he said he didn't hire and fire, which is a bunch of lies, right? So it'd be like saying, okay, let's say Cumulus Radio decides to hire me and say, hey, we got this guy, we found him on Fearmonger Radio. He's got a good voice. I highly doubt he'd let me come into the studio. I would have loved to be on that radio show encountering him because Candy Girl Kansas is not very good, and they're too afraid to counter him in the morning. I've done videos and audios on before. I don't hate the guy. I worked with his brother, I think it was Tony at CDP. In his heyday, sometimes he wouldn't have mine. His brother couldn't understand. Like, but I don't always listen to KQ. I happened to pop him on. I don't know how long ago it was. Well, I think it was Tuesday. And when that comedian from Minnesota passed away, Louis Anderson. Yeah, they were good butt buddies. Very, very good friends. Louis was a funny guy. He was mad they didn't highlight him as the close personal friend. It wasn't about you, Tommy. It was about him. They talked about it real quick, but he was pissed. He said he'd never talk to media again, but then again, he announces it, I think, on Thursday or Wednesday that he's retired. He did it before. I mean, who knows? Tom Brady, the GOAT, retired like Urban Meyer in his back, right? I mean, I guess I've quit jobs before. We had 2 people leave today. They put the 2 weeks notice in, they gave them their final paycheck and said, see you later. That's the way it goes. I've quit jobs. I worked at Perkins, I quit. They would like, hey, can you stay the next couple of days? That was cool. It's like me saying, I'm gonna quit caddying on after 9 holes. I continue to move on, right? But when he lost Toots, he lost all center of gravity. And his wife met him at KQ way back when there was a real upside for him to make money, right? They've moved a few times. He's had his beefs, and he's always hated social media, but he needs social media to promote his podcast. You can't have both ways. I'm on Twitter. It's no big deal. I promote it. I put my podcast, Faker Books. So what? Because one thing about Tommy Barnard, he's always been a big bully. on that bully. He even said it. He got Terry Train fired. He was with Limo Head. What the hell's her name? Michelle DeFoya. Because she would always stand up to him. I love to go toe-to-toe on his podcast because he's a far righty, loves the hunch, makes excuses and hall passes for Mike Lindell, right? And I guess, hey, if you want to fly the Nazi flag, fly it, I guess. And I get it. He started Capitol Records a long time ago. Worked at KCP. He did the voiceover work. That stuff is dried up because of social media and his far righty views. Hey, it's great to talk into a microphone. Anybody can do it. I do it in my podcast all the time. I babble along and get that done. It's not that tough. But they can't pay people anymore. When you're it's again, I like the NFL, NHL. I'm 35, 36 years old. They're not, hey, we'll give you this contract, Cowboy. We're not going to pay you whatever it is. But Kqrs Radio is going to finally get up underneath this albatross. His time is come and gone. He's trying to build a bridge to get over it. But he's always fit us in hire and fire, which is BS. It's garbage. He was mad they retired because there's always a difference of opinion. Quit or retire. Why don't you just leave? Here's your final check. Get out. I mean, I like, what's his name? And Zepp is pretty cool. He's back. He never moved back to Montana because you never know. And the other day they're talking the Holocaust guy was being tried. Why are they bothering? And he goes, because they deserve it. And he always plays dumb like that. Oh, is that still a thing? Whatever. Then one time he was talking about Michelle DeFoya. Oh, I hope she's doing well. It's like, shut up, man. Because she would, whenever he would go after someone in the media, she'd say, hey, listen, this person here, she's a nice man, a woman. So after 36 years, I get it. He's going to go pimp his... Here's the problem with the radio stations, and I'm a podcaster. You guys all know that. Cowpote Podcast, Fear-Mongering Radio. He would always promote his podcast. So guess what? After the show's over, he'd go over to his studio, and people go, watch. It's like me. I own a McDonald's, right? Or a Wendy's, and I'm eating Burger King in my break room. If you sell Fords, you drive Fords, whatever it may be, right? The way it works. If I'm selling a really good security system, but in my house I have a different security system. Here's what radio business has gone wrong: is they promote their podcasts of all their people, so they can go out and find a podcast in iHeart. I've never understood that, and he constantly pimped it through the morning show. So then they go listen. Ray Eric is gone probably because of money. So now they'd be able to. I would go get Mike Morris in the morning. Mike Morris is really good. The K-Fan geeks are a bunch of idiots that talk over each other. 93X is good. Waffle and the boys and Ashley, they're good because they just don't take it so seriously. He won't be missed. I mean, I appreciate, like I said, we're for Capitol Records. He loved the Beatles, and if you didn't like the Beatles, you were a Mongoloid. I like some of the Beatles stuff. And I'm not here to rip on the guy, but it is what it is, man. I mean, the Steel Told Charge show had a really good job in St. Cloud talking to the microphone. The double G hard R, accusing a woman of saying it was false in Iowa, right? And Lastman's up there. You get rid of Lastman because Lastman knew Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi mentioned him on his induction. And he never liked that Lastman knew other people. He hated that. I'm glad Lastman is up there in St. Cloud. As before, push it east. And it's be interesting who they get. But there's a lot of good people they could get and local and do bits again. But I don't know. But when his mother passed away, he lost all connection because she would listen to the show. My mom was like, she'd listen to my podcast. What the hell are you talking about? Whatever. And screw around. But she died. He had no one to keep him in line. His wife might, but he'll always do. And here's another thing: if Hitler was alive tomorrow, he was selling Rubens and whatever, he would promote him. He doesn't care. He hated Mystic Lake, but all of a sudden they're the greatest people in the world because they got called out for saying bad things about Mystic Lake. And he was sleeping with Treasure Island, and then he was sleeping with Hinckley, and then Mystic Lake. He doesn't care. He'd always make sarcastic remarks about people and then pull it back. That's his way of being progressive, being a dink. We have a Bilski and this or that. So now, now we'll see his podcast go. There's nothing redeeming anymore in mine. It's just a circle jerk of his family. supporting his son, his daughter. They talk over each other. That's all they do. I had a friend of mine who was blind when I worked at the prison, and he got in the truck, my car one day, and he goes, you know something? There's nothing to get out of it. I said, I didn't say you were. You said you like podcasts. It's nothing special. They just sit in their studio, and he pimps himself out to whoever. Walzer, that guy comes on in the morning, bitches about this or that. So I don't see it being a big deal. I mean, hey, it is what it is. But when the mom died, he went downhill. I wish you all luck in the world. I'd love to have the guy on the podcast, but come on, no. He's good when he interviews people, but it's just, it's kind of stupid. But he will not be missed. Nothing lasts forever. Real radio is still a plausible thing in any town. People want to hear local news, make you laugh. Not everyone has internet radio. KSTP sold out a long time ago. Sold out. And K-Fan is just a bunch of idiots. I like Common Man. He's pretty funny. It doesn't take him that serious. But we don't have much good morning. I mean, 93X is good. Whatever it may be. But it is what it is. Good luck, Tommy. Go get a real job. Hopefully you've saved your money, because your voiceover work is dried up because you're far righty. You can be a precious little pig. But Terry Train, get her back, and start it over again, pissed him off. But they'll build a bridge and get over it in this town. So anyways, you guys, happy 4th of July. All right? Thanks for the memories, Tommy. Good luck with all that. See you guys all later. Ciao from the outskirts.